Defranco Movie Club. It's me, Jenny, aka ClassyLibrarian, and this week's movie was The Intouchables, which is a French film. And I've said it before, there's something incredibly engrossing about subtitled films because you're engaging an entire different level of your brain in order to get the story. You don't miss any of the enunciation, you don't miss any of the acting, you don't miss any of the visuals. You have to focus in on the sound in a completely different way because it's like listening to music, which is very appropriate for this film. And you're kind of getting all of the words through an entire different level of your brain, and it's like reading a book with visuals, and it's very, very engaging because you can't look away from the screen, you can't do other things, you have to keep on going, keep on looking at the screen in order to get the story. So it is much, much more engaging than a lot of other films where if you get a bit bored you just glance away or you get lost in other things. You have to keep focusing, and it is very engaging in that way. The visuals for this film and the music work so well. The visuals, there's a lot of kind of very important objects and very important themes that go through this film. Of course, there's the wheelchair, which has a lot of different meanings for the two different characters. There's the bath, which is a brilliant symbol, the comparison between one life and the next, the very, very ornate and beautiful, wealthy side, and the very poverty-stricken side with all the family. It's a very kind of, very visually kind of driven film where you can get exactly what's going on. Even if, for example, you're not even reading the subtitles, you can probably get an idea for this film in terms of two complete clashes of circumstance coming together and becoming friends and finding a middle ground, because it's about one man who has had all of the life experience and all of the opportunity but has lost a sense of self, versus a man who has complete control of his sense of self. He knows exactly who he is, but has never had any of the real opportunities in life or any of the real experience. And those two people coming together and both of them challenging each other to become better people, it's a really beautiful kind of classic friendship scenario. And it's a really interesting film. There's a lot of stuff which I think everyone could learn from in terms of trying to treat people who have a disability, whether or not it's physical or mental, and trying to learn how to laugh with them, treat them as equals if you can, not getting distracted by what they have, but getting to know who they are. And it's a really beautiful message. The music in this film is gorgeous. I've never really been interested in classical music other than soundtrack music or ballet background music, but this is the first time after watching this film, because of the way that it plays into the storyline and in itself tells its own story. I actually kind of wanted to go and, rootle through some of the old classical music selections and try and find music that I liked, because there is such a variation. They go through that montage of clips of different music going through, and they all have different meanings. They all have little stories behind them, and it's very interesting. And it would be nice for me to go through and find some music from that genre which I like, because it does tell a story. This isn't a perfect movie. There are some points where it feels a bit disjointed. It feels a bit like it's trying to force art down your throat in a way. It feels a bit like this is what art is, so you should feel it. And it does balance that out with the two different characters having very different opinions on art. But it does feel a bit condescending at points, where it feels like you should really, really appreciate art to the point that you kind of lose its value. And sometimes it's a bit ironic, but sometimes it doesn't quite get the balance right. And sometimes the character plots feel a bit disjointed as well. You feel a bit like, would a character really act in that way? Particularly with the character of Driz. Some of the comedy stuff that he does, you wonder where he has some points where he feels a little bit like a cartoon sidekick. Like the dance sequence feels a bit out of place. You can understand where it's coming from, but it feels a bit like he's just going all out for the sake of the camera rather than for the sake of his character choices. So it's not a perfect film, but it is very enjoyable, and I would recommend it. Sorry I wasn't here last week. It was my 21st birthday on Monday, so me and my twin sister, we went camping for the 4-day weekend last week, and by the time I got back I just didn't have any time. I had to do lots of things, and we've had a big birthday party, and we've had a private birthday party on our actual birthday, and I got lots of gifts. And thank you so much for the birthday messages. You guys are amazing, and it means so much to me. And I'm so sorry we missed last week, and I will see you next week, I promise. Bye, guys.